Shout out, show us you got New England pride, stand up. Shout out, show us you got New England pride. Show us, show us, show us you got New England pride. I said, show us, show us, show us you got New England pride.
Hello everybody and welcome to another fun and informative episode of New England Pride TV. I'm your host Dale LePage and I am joined today by the one and only, drumroll please, Mom LePage.
Hello everybody.
This is Mom's first appearance on the opening of the show, and I've got to tell everybody I'm very happy. Mom just celebrated a birthday. So
Yes, I did.
Happy birthday. And tell everybody at home how old you turned.
39.
39, that's perfect because that makes me 25.
Yes, well, I was very young, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it.
Now, this show is touching a lot of lives, and we receive fan mail from all over. And we just received a fan letter that I wanted to read to you because apparently people are watching the show all the way out in California. So I'd like to start the show with reading this most recent letter. Dear Dale and New England Pride TV, I just got this message from my cousin in California. She wanted to thank you for doing what you do because it's so necessary. Kids need to know that they are okay and they're not alone, and you are reaching out to people across the country with that message on your show.
That's so nice.
It is nice, isn't it? In the second time this month, I've bragged about this show to my friends. My friends Molly and her husband are from Connecticut, and I was just telling them about your wonderful show and how you're helping with the transgender community also. Their son is a 10th grader in high school, and he has tried to commit suicide.
Aww.
He is being bullied, and he is struggling very hard in school. And I mentioned her show to you, and they are now watching the show together. I want to tell you that I'm truly thankful and inspired by you and what you are doing on your show, New England Pride TV. You're giving people some hope for themselves and their children.
That's
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Isn't that amazing?
Is so great, Dale. I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you. We have a great staff here at New England Pride TV, and I want to thank them for helping me get this show out. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hey Dale, it's Miss Lady Sabrina, and I'm back with another letter. Let's see what they have for us today. Dear Lady Sabrina, I've been in a relationship for about 4 years now, and it seems like it's really perfect. We're getting married really soon, but the thing is, they don't like to go out anymore. It seems like we're already a 50-year-old married couple, even though we're both in our early 20s, and the sexual department has kind of died down a little bit. He doesn't care if I go out by myself, but I'm always going out by myself to bars. I want to go to the movies, bowling, or something, and it doesn't work. He turned into a couch potato, or just wants to send me out. I don't think there's anything going on with anyone else, but you know, a perfect thing doesn't always seem so perfect. What should I do? I love him, and I just want us to feel like we're 20-something again. Love, trust, and confused. What you're describing is actually something that happens when you get into a relationship. You know, it kind of feels like you have to kind of hide yourself away, and you get real comfortable, and let's just get into it, shall we? Dear Trust and Confused, when people get into a relationship, it's common for them to hibernate and isolate. When you have all you need at home, you're less motivated to want to go out. This includes spending time with friends that don't visit you at home. These symptoms sneak up on you and become a larger issue before you realize. A healthy relationship is one where you have your lives and interests apart as well as together. This gives you things to talk about and share. There's also the trap that thinking because you're at home together that you're spending quality time. Not. Regardless of how long you're together, you need to have a date night. Now, this is going to be the same night every week, and there are rules to be followed. You're not allowed to talk about money, children, or work. Before you lived together, you had many things to talk about and need to revisit that. Sometimes you can be creative and do some role-playing if that interests you. You know? Fireman and a stubborn hydrant. Otherwise, you can go to dinner, take a drive, go see a movie. Remove yourselves from your environment at least once a week and make your relationship the priority. If you're unable to commit to make your relationship top billing at least once a week, you have bigger issues to deal with. Lastly, you need to have some time apart, enjoying your friends without being a couple. Not saying you pretend to be single, you just have some best friend time. It allows you to give your friends the solo time they need and the time for you to miss your partner. There's nothing unhealthy about time apart, as it makes coming back together more enjoyable. Communication is the key. So when you present these things to him, make sure you convey how important this is to you. If you are unable to, do this amongst yourselves, then I would suggest finding a therapist in your area. Every couple needs a little cleaning up on the communication every now and again. The idea is that you have to have a conversation, and you have to set realistic expectations. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again: compromise, compromise, compromise. Everyone doesn't get everything that they want, especially with the date night. I think that one person shouldn't have to set up all the dates. I think one person should set up the date, and then the next week the other person sets up the date and plans the whole thing. So literally the partner just has to show up. So it is kind of like, and it doesn't matter what you do. It matters who you're spending time with, enjoying it, enjoying their interests as well as them enjoying yours, and showing the respect to your partner that you will expect when it's your turn to plan the date and it's something that you really enjoy. It's not as complicated as it seems, but if you don't pay attention to it now, small issues become large issues. Well, I hope that helps you out. Love and light, Lady Sabrina. Back to you, baby.
Welcome back to New England Pride TV. I'm Dale LePage. I have the distinct pleasure of having our guest on today. Congressman Jim McGovern has been an incredible supporter of the LGBTQ community for years, long before this show ever came along. And you have been instrumental in just showing up and showing your support at pride parades, fundraising events, safe homes, all those amazing programs, and you're just such an inspiration, and I wish there were more politicians like you. How's that sound?
Well, thank you very much.
But I truly mean that.
Well,
I truly mean
it
that.
means a lot to me,
Yeah.
and I'm thrilled to be on your show, and I'm so excited that it's a reality.
Now, I want to tell our viewers at home that when I announced that this show was happening, I announced it at a Safe Homes event.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the Safe Homes People of Courage Award, where you were speaking. You had received the award the year before, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I announced it, you walked over to me and said, "Let me know when I can be on your show, and let me know what I can do."
Mm-hmm.
And that was a huge moment for me, because somebody like you giving time to support the community is amazing. So,
Well,
thank you so much.
I appreciate that, but you're a real trailblazer doing this show, and I'm so happy it's up and running, and that you're getting fan mail from as far away as California.
We're getting
yeah.
we're getting fan mail, and it's all positive. It's all positive. So it's very encouraging.
Good.
Yes, and we just signed on for our viewers at home. We just signed on Cambridge,
Wonderful.
as well as Boston, Rhode Island, New Hampshire.
That's great.
It's going out to over 1 million homes. So thank you for watching. Now, I've got a few questions for you that, first of all, the transgender bill that passed last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you were a big advocate for that too. Were you surprised to hear that people want to repeal that in 2018?
Yeah, my question is why?
Why?
I mean, one is I'm proud of all the legislators that voted for that bill,
Yes.
Democrats and some Republicans, and I think that's due in large part because the LGBTQ community organized and actually, reached out to legislators, some of whom may have had some doubts, kind of explained the facts. But the idea that we would go backwards, to me, is something that is absolutely unacceptable. And you know what? At the end of the day, I don't believe that will happen.
I hope you're right, and I agree with you. I think in the beginning with that bill, though, I think people were confused. They were making it something it wasn't. They just had to get the facts.
Right.
That's what the bill was about.
But that's right. Ignorance sometimes, is the biggest reason for bad policy. And I always tell people, whether you're in the state legislature or in the United States Congress, intelligence is not always a prerequisite for serving in a legislative body. But it's important for people to understand that that they need to be active in reaching out to their elected officials, even people who you think are a lost cause, but give them the facts.
Give them the facts.
Yeah, and hopefully
and let them know that
right.
you're interested in this, right?
And that and that you're every bit as important to this community as they are, and that you also have the power of your vote. So that kind of interaction is important, and I think here in Massachusetts, we have been on the forefront of a lot of LGBTQ community issues.
We really have been.
I mean, first state, that had marriage equality.
Yeah.
And I remember, when it became legal to be able to marry who you love in this state, some people were like, "Oh my God, what's going to happen tomorrow?" Well, what happened tomorrow was that the sun came up.
The sun came up.
Everybody went to work, right? And life went on. And so now the idea that people were against that seems kind of like a real throwback. And so I think we're making progress, and we need to have more progress to make. But it's important that people be engaged and care about politics and care about the people they vote for.
Now, speaking of being engaged, you mentioned reaching out to your local rep. So how effective are petitions? I'm just curious. How effective do you think petitions are? I think
petitions can potentially be effective. I think the most effective way to lobby your representative is one-on-one. If you come into my office and you talk to me about an issue, I mean, there you are, and I have to pay attention, and I have to respond, so I think that's the most effective way. But petitions or letters or emails or phone calls, whatever. I think the only thing that's not acceptable is to kind of sit home and just assume that everything's going to work itself out.
Like be proactive.
Right, you got to be proactive. And I think, again, in Massachusetts, and all throughout the country, I mean, you see the progress that's being made. It's happening not by accident. It's happening because the community and allies of the community are coming together and demanding change.
That's wonderful. Now, I just have a couple of questions here. We've got a great staff here at New England Pride, and these are some of the questions that we came up with. Now, you supported Hillary Clinton in the primary instead of Bernie Sanders. While many of the supporters choose Sanders, do you think the bridges were broken in the process, and how closely do you align with Sanders' vision of the steps that we need to take?
Well, I'm probably more liberal than Bernie Sanders if you look at the ratings. I mean, I love Bernie Sanders. He's my friend, and I've known him for many, many years. And I'm glad he ran. I think he helped bring new people into the process. I think he helped move Hillary Clinton to more progressive positions. And so, I'm grateful that he ran for president. I'm grateful that he's still, very active in this campaign now, helping Hillary Clinton. Look, the problem with primaries is that oftentimes you have 2 or 3 or 4 good people running, but you can only vote for one.
Right.
And I've known Hillary Clinton for 20 years. I think the world of her. I think she gets a bum rap oftentimes, by the political pundits. But I think she's a decent, wonderful human being who cares about a lot of the same issues that the Bernie Sanders people cared about. And I also think she has that added quality of having experience and having a track record of being able to work across party lines and get things done. I mean, look, we could all give great speeches. At the end of the day, we got to get things done. Now, I'm not saying Bernie couldn't have done that, but I'm just simply saying I've seen Hillary do that, and I admire her. So my vote and support for her was not against Bernie Sanders. It was just I had to pick one, and my politics are probably more liberal than both of theirs. But I think she would be a great president. I really do.
So do I.
Yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed.
Now, you've long been a supporter of normalizing relationships with Cuba. How happy are you with the steps the Obama administration has taken, and what needs to come next?
Well, I'm very pleased that the president has begun the process of trying to normalize relations between our two countries. we've had a policy for over 5 decades where we've had an economic boycott, where it's been illegal for you to travel there, not because the Cubans say you can't travel there, but U.S. law says you can't travel there. And it's been a policy that I think has been self-defeating. It hasn't helped the Cuban people. We're isolated with the rest of the world. We're the only country in the world that has travel restrictions and economic embargoes on Cuba. Every other country in the world deals with them, but us.
We are the
We're the only one.
I was not aware of that,
so,
and I probably should have been, but I'm not.
And and I've traveled there many times. My first time was in 1979 when I was in college, and I've seen things change and political space open up. But not because of our policy, but because the Europeans have come in, and the Canadians have come in, and the whole world has come in. And look, the human rights record in Cuba has been over the years of great concern. In the past there have been there's been particular repression against the LGBTQ community. But that has begun to change, and pretty dramatically in the case of the LGBTQ community.
In what kind of time frame do you think it's been changing?
In the last 15, 20 years. And so, look, it's not a perfect place, but I'm a big believer that the best ways to promote kind of the values that we care about, political space, openness, and freedom, is for you to travel there. Not for members of Congress to give fiery speeches on the floor of the Congress, but for average Americans to be able to go there and
promote the goodwill.
Right. And it just, whether it's to go as a tourist or to visit museums or to do business there. I mean, I think the American people are the strongest weapon we have to help promote good things around the world. So I give the president a great deal of credit. I went with the president.
I know you did. That's why I wanted to ask this question.
When he normalized diplomatic relations, but what needs to happen now is Congress needs to vote to lift all the travel restrictions and to lift the embargo, so that people can travel there freely.
Why do you think they're hesitant to do that?
Well, because you get members of Congress that are still stuck in the Cold War. I mean, you get some of our colleagues from Florida who feel that that they're beholden to a small group of Cuban Americans that still want to fight the old wars when the revolution first happened. And they've been blocking things. But the interesting thing is that the majority of Americans want normal relations. The majority of Cuban Americans want normal relations. The only holdup is, a few people in Congress. And so the American people are way ahead of Congress on this issue. And, my view is normalize relations. I think that the 2 words in the English language that the hardliners fear the most in Cuba are spring break. They wouldn't know what the hell to do with spring break. So just let it all happen, And by the way, Cuba is a beautiful place, rich in music and art and culture. And for the last 13 years, I've actually been working on a project to protect Ernest Hemingway's home and all the belongings in his home. He had a home in Cuba. And we've had some great success, so I'm really proud of that.
That's great. I was not aware of that. I'm so glad you brought that up. Well, our time is up, unfortunately. Oh, okay. But I've got to tell you, it's just been a pleasure having you here.
Well, it's my honor to be here, but I understand that.
And I'm proud of you.
Well, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of this show. But I think the last time you had a politician was the mayor of Worcester was on the show. He gave you the key to the city.
He did.
So I have just a little congressional a certificate of recognition. It's not as nice as the key to the city, but the federal government's broke. So
I'm getting congressional recognition from Jim McGovern for New England Pride TV. How amazing is that? Thank you so much.
Look forward to doing this again. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thanks. We'll be back with more.
It's time to go out with Joe.
On this month's edition of Out with Joe on New England Pride TV, we are reminded of the rich history and significance of one of New England's most charming landmarks, Longfellow's Wayside Inn in Sudbury, Massachusetts. Nestled on 110 acres with 9 buildings, the Wayside Inn celebrates its 300th anniversary, the oldest operating inn in the U.S. Began in 1716 with its tavern on Boston Post Road, now known as Route 20, where it was only accessible by horseback for the first 150 years. And who best to talk to than the innkeeper? Out with Joe caught up with Steve Pickford.
110 acres of historic property with about 9 different buildings on them. We have a grist mill that we operate. We grind our own cornmeal, wheat flour for use in the bakery. We have a chapel that was built by Henry Ford. We have the Little Red Schoolhouse that was the Mary Had a Little Lamb Schoolhouse. We have an authentic ice house that used to be used for saving ice for the year and food's fresh, and all those historic buildings.
And historic buildings they are. Henry Ford owned the property for a period. This was when the Martha Mary Chapel was constructed, naming it after his wife and mother-in-law. The Wayside Inn is many things: an inn, a restaurant, a museum, a great venue, and of course a landmark. Want to see a decree from King George III and John Hancock's original signature? It's there.
You know, just to think of all the famous people that have passed here and stayed here and visited here, just to be walking in those same shoes is amazing.
The restaurant needs to support the entire property along with the 10 guest rooms. Out with Joe is treated to a fantastic meal of lobster pie and prime rib, 2 of the inn's signature dinners. Both were superb. The lobster pie was overflowing and the prime rib was seared and cooked to order. Gentlemen, are you looking for a venue to tie the knot? Between the chapel, tent, functions room, tavern, and guest rooms, a picture-perfect New England wedding is just a click or call away. Steve is your innkeeper, but you have Tara and Janice at the front desk keeping this 300-year-old ship sailing smooth. Click wayside.org or check out withjoe.com for more details and a complete review. To watch our segments and complete New England Pride TV episodes, click newenglandpride.tv. I'm Joe Mandricotti for New England Pride TV.
We're here now with our guest, musical guest. It's the Andy and Judy Show. That's what I'm calling it. How's that? Is that good?
Sounds cool.
Now, how long have you guys been performing together?
About 5-6 years we've been performing.
And you, how would you describe your sound?
Kind of folky, but we do traditional, country, blues.
So all of it?
We hit it all, yes.
Now, do you do a lot of your own songwriting?
We do mostly our own. We do covers too, but mostly our own.
And what are you going to be performing today? An original?
An original today called Thorns in That Crown. It's kind of a bluesy number.
All right, we love the blues here.
Cool.
All right.
You know that I love you. Yes, I do. But love's a two-way street. You're good at taking, but you're giving it to every girl that you meet. Your sweet talking words, I fell for it hard. Empty promises, that was your game. Did you tell her the same things? Did she fall for them too? Like a moth to a flame. I gave you my all. I gave you the best of me, but the writing's on the wall. This is how it's going to be. I can't turn a blind eye to what's going down. You call me a princess, but there are thorns in that crown. You know it's too bad. We could have been so good, but I can't keep living this way. You're never changing, I can see that now. So I'm leaving today. I gave you my all. I gave you the best of me, but the writing's on the wall. This is how it's going to be. I can't turn a blind eye to what's going down. You call me your princess, there are thorns in that crown. find out. Call me a princess, but there are thorns in that crown. Yeah, you call me a princess, but there are thorns in that crown. Yeah, in that crown.
New England Pride TV with Dale LePage is brought to you in part by the Hanover Theater for the Performing Arts, Remax Vision Realtors, Shancakes, Cruise Planners, S. Bergman Consignment and Gift Boutique, New Oval Restaurant, Safe Homes, Bay State Savings Bank, and Paul Chasen Interior Design. And now back to New England Pride TV with Dale LePage.
We've come to the end of another fun-filled episode of New England Pride TV. Joining me right now is the lovely Tina, who makes sure this show runs smoothly. And she's doing a good job so far, right?
Right.
Yeah. We'd like to thank all of our guests. We'd like to especially thank our sponsors, because without our sponsors, we would not be here. And we'd like to end by saying what we always say: please don't be afraid to shine your light.
Because you might be lighting the way for someone else.
Perfect. Till next time. Bye. We've come to another end of. Sorry.
Blah, 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 blah,
Blah, blah, blah, blah. All right. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm joined for.
Remember the time that we did it like 6 times?
All right.
Keep it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's right.
That's right.
Bye for now. See you next time.
Hey, hey, I'll stand up, shout out, show us you got New England pride. Stand up, shout out, show us you got New England pride. Show us, show us, show us you got New England pride. I said, show us, show us, show us you got New England pride.